Okay, so how about if we unify ourselves by doing 3 ohms together? Oh, oh,
Om.
oh. Okay. I just want to remind you that, when you are practicing meditation, you're practicing your spiritual life, you can always sing. People are like, oh yeah, no, I couldn't sing. That's not me. That's not who I am. Well, that's fine. But I want you to know that you can sing, and you want to sing just soulfully. If you know a song that you could make up a song, you can even just use your chant or your mantra. You can have a favorite tune and do an affirmation to that tune. And it creates this interesting sound. And it's after a while you'll want to do it more soulfully. Anything that you do in your spiritual practice, you always want to do it soulfully. You never want to just get into the habit of just doing it mechanically, like just showing up. It's like people when they say, oh, I just have to go to church, I have to. It's better to want to, so when you sit and you do your practice, whatever it may be, always remember you're doing it because it feels good, because it makes you feel clean inside. And singing has this way of taking your concentration and making it really, really focused. You can even like clap your hands with it or whatever it is that you want to do. But I really want to encourage you to make your practice your own, because it reflects you, who you are. Make sure it's very soulful, right? Because it's just for you, to help you to be able to enjoy the relationship with your sorry, there's so many words I could use. I'm like, okay, it's your relationship with yourself, but we call it your higher self. We have our personalities, and then we have a part of us that we reference as our soul. Therefore, it's soulful, right? So we want to be full of soul when we pray or when we chant or when we sing. And then after we get that habit, then wherever you go, you'll want to practice that soulfulness. You'll want to show up as your soul rather than as your personality. And this leads us into the word integrity, which has been our word for February. And with integrity, I really feel like integrity is sort of like our modern word, so to speak, for an old-fashioned word, character. We used to use the word character a lot. That person has a lot of character, but we don't really, when's the last time somebody said to you, wow, she has a lot of character? Do you see what I mean? Integrity and character have always been words, but it's just now we reference that feeling about a person, that they're truthful, but they follow their heart. That is integrity.
March, so March was dignity.
Oh, did I go all the way back to February?
February was peace. January was integrity.
Sorry, I'm all the way back in integrity.
Oh,
I apologize to you. I get them confused because thank you, because I use the words all the time. And just so you know, this year, I am, every day I use the word courage, because we had that in January. And I adopted that one for my word for the whole year. So you'll hear me like referencing things about courage because I focus so much on it. But I haven't really focused on integrity this past week, because there's so many things like that are out in the news and things like that, where people are not showing any integrity towards one another. So what is our word then for March, right? For March. Oh, can you let them speak?
Yeah, they can turn.
Does anybody want to speak?
Yeah.
It was
I
integrity.
had it as integrity, Jackie. I
on.
looked at the last email for March. Anyway,
Okay, yeah.
I
Okay, so
have
I'm
it.
on it.
I have integrity as well in my notes.
Oh, perfect.
It's all bigger.
She can only dress me from now on, and that's it. No, I think it started out that way. And then I
But-
changed.
but dignity relates to integrity.
And I did start out with that one, and she knows that one. She knows that I did start out with that one. But I do love integrity, and I have really been on it, especially this last week. It's just been something that's really been in my mind. And the saboteur is injustice. So when we are in our integrity, means that we're actually in our truth. Now, I said the word our truth, my truth, but there really isn't any such thing as my truth and your truth, because ultimately truth is truth. So when we reference it as that's my truth, we're really saying my perspective. This is how I see things. It doesn't mean it's the absolute truth. Absolute truth doesn't change from person to person. Truth changes in terms of awareness or our state of consciousness. The deeper your consciousness, your spiritual consciousness is, you see truth, you experience truth, you speak truth in a different way than if your consciousness is low. Because sometimes we think truth is just an opinion. It's a criticism, and sometimes we think that because we belong to a particular group, a particular religion, a particular whatever it may be, we think that sometimes what we say is truth, and it's sanctioned. This is truth because my church says it's true, or my group says it's true, or my school says it's true. So sometimes we feel very sanctioned, that this is what truth is. So truth in and of itself will never ever change. That's why it's truth. It's just that we don't understand that because we're always waking up to deeper levels of truth. I mean, honestly, the truth is to love everyone, and that means including yourself. So are you loving every single person, including yourself? And will it never change? It will change. There's people that you say, I really love. And then maybe in a week or two, you may say, I don't love them. I don't love you anymore. Or people say to each other, I'm falling out of love with you. Or I fell out of love with you. There's all these very interesting ways, But what I'm saying to you is we have to understand that we sometimes use this word truth as like an excuse. It's the truth. That's why I'm doing it. It's the truth that I need to have 50 guns every single day. Is that the truth, or is that a desire? Truth changes as we change. As we change, truth changes, but not truth, our understanding of what truth is. So integrity brings truth in, but it also brings in our soul, our heartfelt way. So a person who has integrity is expressing truth through their heart. They don't have to have an excuse. Well, this is what so-and-so says, therefore it's the truth. You're not hiding behind somebody else's version of truth. They're standing up for really how they feel in their heart. And one way you can tell about truth is that truth isn't said to cause harm. It's like when people say to me, tell me the truth when they come into the office, they're wanting me to say things kind of in a harsh way or in a negative way, but I know that that's not healthy. It's not. We have to present truth in a way where we make sure that we have thought about how's this person going to receive it? I'm going to tell them something that's painful. Should I shout at them and say, well, that's the truth. You're this and you're that. And shall we shout at them and hurt them? Shall we say bad things to them and then defend it by saying, but that's the truth? Remember that the harsher that we speak to another person, the more wounded that they are also going to become. Maybe we want to help each other to understand better what the truth is. So in expressing the truth it's important that we know that we don't really want to cause harm. We may have to say something that's painful, something that that has to be said. But I'm encouraging you to have integrity with it. You know, speak from your soul, like singing, you know, and like we were talking about before. Speak from your soul. Because it's soft doesn't mean that you're beating around the bush. You can be completely direct. But if you say it in a way that is respectful of the other person's humanity, you and that other person are going to be left in a better way. Now, they may not respond back to you in the same way, but that's their lesson. You have to do your lesson. You're responsible for your homework here on planet Earth. Because we can say, well, they didn't talk to me that way, so I'm not going to talk to them that way. But if you know that they're not speaking in a good way, why would you mirror that behavior? You know, quite often we're like, they're doing a bad thing. They're saying this bad thing. Now I have to act just like them. No. Now we have people acting in a way that doesn't seem to be appropriate. We don't need to mirror negative behavior. We don't need to mirror other people's hate. So when people say statements about hate, and then we return it with a hateful comment back onto them, now we have more hate. Why would we want to actually mirror something that we think is a very low vibration? So when we're in our integrity, we want to raise our vibration. It's not a competition, but what you want to do is raise your vibration in the sense of you heard what they said, you heard the depth of badness in it. You heard it, you felt it. Make sure in that moment that you're centered enough to ask yourself, do I really want to perpetuate that? Because if you do perpetuate it, then how can you think that you're different than what just came onto you? Because just because you return the bad thought or the bad words, your heart isn't suddenly open and clean and happy. We just have more wounded people. And then then everybody goes out and they spread it more and more. You can see it. You can see it in society. That is a competition. Who can speak the loudest in the most negative way? It doesn't make it the truth because we have very loud voices and say things in a demeaning way. The more we demean another person, we are the demeaner. And we're saying that they're demeaning us. They're demeaning all these other people. We have to learn to not be the thing that we disdain. There's a saying that my teacher used to say. Let me see if I can get it here because it's kind of long. He would say, if you want to have peace in your heart, there are two things that you must learn to forget. The first thing that you must learn to forget is all the harm, all the harm that others have done to you. The second thing that you must learn to forget is all the good that you have done for others. Now think about that for a moment. Think how often we put that into somebody's face. Maybe they've said something negative to us and we say, are you kidding me? You're saying this to me when I did this for you and that for you. I showed up for you over here. I have done this, provided this for you. I did all these things for you. And now you treat me like this? Remember that whatever we give to another person, if you throw it in their face later on, you never gave it all. That's why we have to forget it. We all have to. I have to. If I want peace in my heart, I have to forget the good that I have done for another person. Because we have to learn to give and forget. So there's two things that we fight about with each other. And one of them is I did this for you, I did that for you. And the other thing is, you did this bad thing to me, you did that bad thing to me, you did this bad thing to me, you did that bad thing to me, and I did all this good for you. You see those two arguments there? We perpetuate a lot again and again and again, and it steals our peace. We all do it. There's not a soul that doesn't. We do it in differing degrees, with different situations, however it may be, but we do participate in it. But you see, when I say these things to you, I say them so that we, together, we become more aware that we can do better, that we can grow into more self-control. It's important to have self-control so that we're just not all out there freaking out with anger, and raising a voice to rally other people, to be angry with other people and make it big and big and big and big. If you don't like all of that talk out there about making things really big and bad and harmful to one another, then don't be part of it. If you find yourself part of it, correct yourself. Have self-control. Speak with integrity from your soul, from your heart. You're speaking truth because that's where truth lies, in your soul. It's not up here as an intellectual exercise. Truth is not an intellectual exercise. Well, this is actually truth. Well, I hear what you're saying, but I still feel like this is truth. Well, is that truth or is that truth? No. Truth is something that you feel throughout your being. And apparently, ultimately, when we live in truth, we are completely harmless. That does not mean we're harmless like a tiny itty bitty little ant. No. It means that we are super, super strong because we have self-control. We're not using anger as a reason to hurt someone. You make me so mad. Boom. But this is the real weapon right here. How we speak to one another, the actual words that we use. We can all know that we're going to have a difficult conversation with someone. And so you think about what you're going to say. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. And then when they say that, I'm going to say this. And we never think to ourselves, I really want to say what I need to say, but I really don't want to hurt them. It's a weird thing how we don't even realize that we're planning to hurt someone. I say this not because we're bad, just for awareness. It's for awareness, for us to have more awareness that we can be more peaceful. And that peaceful does not mean that we're neutral, that we don't care. When we're peaceful in our hearts, it means that we're really willing. This is the only time I like to use the word fight. We're willing to fight for balance. And what I mean by fight is that we don't give up. When you see yourself going like this, what? Well, you want to fight for yourself to come back, to make that fluctuation smaller. Because if you can make that fluctuation smaller, you have more inner strength. And if you have more inner strength, you're more protected. So people will say to me, I'm a very sensitive person and I pick up on other people. I pick up a lot of things that other people are thinking and feeling. How do I protect myself from that? And in the New Age and things like that, there's a lot of interesting visualizations that are being taught. I don't want you to feel like I think that's a bad thing about what I'm going to say here, because I don't feel like it's a bad thing. I just think it's ineffective. Because your best defense against what other people are thinking is to change how you think. So what happens is, as you raise your own vibration by speaking with more integrity, more soulfully, you express your truth, you end up with more light. So this light actually emanates from us. So light overtakes the darkness. So as you truly grow spiritually, you become more strong. And that light emanates, and anything that's lower than that light can't get in. So you can visualize walls around you, or you can visualize mirrors to reflect things back to other people. You can reflect all kinds of different things, but you're still living behind that. You're still perhaps perpetuating your own thoughts. Who's going to protect you from you? We're so worried about other people's thoughts. But why aren't we worried about our own thoughts? Why don't we protect ourselves from ourselves? When you speak in a mean-spirited way to yourself, when you tell yourself that you're an idiot, you're stupid, you're would you say that out loud to other people? Well, you're so stupid. Of course you can't be successful. But yet you say it to yourself. And are you protecting yourself from your own thoughts? You're only thinking about being protected by other people's thoughts. But when we practice integrity, we realize we have to protect ourselves from ourselves. And as we protect ourselves from ourselves, it emanates this light that actually automatically protects us from the thoughts, words, and actions of other people. Whether you're aware of other people's thoughts coming at you or not, it's happening. And you are the other person emanating thoughts to everybody else too. So we only think about ourselves. Other people's thoughts are coming to me, but every thought that you have goes to others. What kind of thoughts are you sending out into the world? And do we have to protect ourselves from you? Me? I don't think bad thoughts. Of course you do. Unless you're a master. Of course you do. Again, in varying degrees. Consciousness comes in varying degrees. So to protect ourselves begins with protecting our mind, our own mind, from our own negativity. If you really want to change the world for it to be a better place, because we look at the world and we're like, oh, it's really awful out there and it's getting worse, it's getting worse. Okay, if you could observe that, be careful and ask yourself, am I infected by this too? Because all these words are in the air and we're breathing that air all the time. What do you contribute to the air? What kind of thoughts do you have that emanate out of your mind? What kind of words do you breathe out into the world? What kind of thoughts move through your hands when you touch other people or when you sign documents or whatever you're doing on the computer? What do you write in texts? What kind of words come out of you here? Because this is your second mouth. Anything that you write, anything that you say comes from your mind. So is the beginning point clean? So that's why every day we have to help ourselves to become more watchful over who we are. It's funny, that word. So there was another thing that my teacher said. One time he was given a discourse to some college students. Apparently he noticed that they were looking at their watches quite a bit. And he stopped what he was saying and he said, what is it that you're all looking at? What are you watching? You look at your watch. What are you watching? So he gave them this spiritual acronym. He says, okay, watch. So let's use that, WATCH. So he said, watch your W, watch your words. Watch, right? Watch your words. Watch your actions, A. Watch your thoughts. Watch your character. And watch your heart. These are the things to watch. Usually we're watching other people and we're criticizing them. Oh, look at her gossiping. And if I say that, that means I'm gossiping. So it's important for us to just have a better sense of humor with ourselves and realize that we're participating in all these things that we observe in other people. You don't have to get down on yourself and go, oh my God, I'm at that level. This is horrifying. Oh gosh, no. Then you're not going to be able to get out of it as easily. I always like to go through things a lot easier than other people might think that you have to go through them. Life is hard, but the best way to do it is to dedicate yourself to working on yourself. Work on being able to be more thoughtful on how you're communicating to others and not always think it's such a burden. Really. Sometimes, because, people are living a lot longer now. We have a lot more people that are living into their 90s. It's not such an anomaly now. People actually, lots of people live into their 90s, comparatively speaking, which means there's a lot more people who are, 60s and 70s who are asked to take care of their parents. And this can be something that some people they may look at that like this is a hardship. This is an imposition. Believe you me, I know it's not easy. But if that's what's on your plate, make it more palatable. Think about it like if you have a parent who's elderly and there's somebody a caregiver that's there touching them, but you can tell that caregiver isn't really thinking about them. I'm not making the caregiver bad. I'm making the caregiver normal. Maybe the caregiver is preoccupied with all these other things and she or he seems to be in a rush and distracted. Off they go. Instead of being so angry at that person, step in. Touch your parent with kindness. If you're taking care of them, you can take care of them with resentment, or you can take care of them with integrity, soulfully. It's actually an option. How do you want to be taken care of? By somebody who resents taking care of you? Or by someone who is in that moment, is really helping themselves to have integrity and they're going to touch you soulfully? You're already there. You're already taking care of that person. You don't want to live in resentment, because if you let yourself live here in resentment, it's going to come out this way when you speak. It's going to come out this way when you touch. You see, we have to take care of ourselves, our health, the health of our heart, the health of our soul. None of this is easy that I'm talking to you about. I think this is one of the reasons why we have to keep incarnating. We can't get all this stuff in one lifetime. I mean, I can't. It's I don't even know how many lifetimes it takes, but the thing is that practice. How do you touch one another? And if you know that right now, I can't touch that person because they've done so much and they've said so much, and now I'm supposed to take care of them. Why? That's not right. That's not right. She never took care of me. Now I have to take care of her. Ooh. Help yourself. Help yourself first. Work it out. Find a way to regain your own humanity so that you can touch that person in a better way. And if you can do that, if you can overcome what I just showed you, and you can go, okay, have a good cry about it. Whatever it takes. Review yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Review. Okay, you're upset because she wasn't there for you when you were a kid. And now everybody thinks that you have to be there for her. Okay, get it. You're hurt. You still have that going on. Okay. But I don't want to live in that way anymore. I need to change. And one of the ways I can change is to not return the disfavor. We can only imagine how difficult it is to be like that all the time. But apparently, by the time we can do it all the time, it's quite easy. So all of us struggle with this word integrity because we feel like there's been so much injustice that I kind of have a right to misbehave. There's been a lot of injustice done to me and to my family, to my neighborhood. I have a right to be angry. I have a right to speak to you the way I'm speaking to you. I have a right to not like you. I have a right to hate you. Okay. But you also have a right to heal yourself. You also have a right to overcome, to activate the power to overcome within inside of yourself. We have that right to love. We have a right to peace in our mind and in our heart. We have those rights. We don't always exercise those rights. We exercise the right to be angry. We exercise the right to hate. Like it's going to change the world for the better. Again, we see all this bad stuff being said and all this bad stuff that we're doing, and then we just turn around and do it too. Honestly, we're not going to get where we're going. We just keep perpetuating these things that we know are not right, that they're incorrect. And we justify it by saying, this was an injustice to me. But helping yourself to be peaceful, helping yourself to be peaceful to others, does not mean that that person didn't do that to you. It doesn't mean it isn't in their karma. But do you want it in yours too? None of us are as innocent as we think we are. And I am not into thinking of karma as reward and punishment. It never meant that. It's just a very sad interpretation because most of us don't use that word in terms of energy. Karma is energy. If I recognize inside of myself that I have hate in my heart for people who are purple, maybe they belong to a purple political party, maybe they have purple skin, maybe they have purple hair, maybe they dress all in purple, whatever it may be. Purple is my thing that really causes me a lot of pain, a lot of self-righteousness. And whenever I see people who are purple, it aggravates me. It makes me even want to say something nasty to them or give them a look so that they know that they're unwelcome. And then I go home and I complain about what a terrible place the world is. But I was terrible in the world today. Does that make me really bad? Are they bad because they've committed these injustices? Some people would say it's foolish not to say that. Of course they're bad. Of course you're bad. But if you do that, you're going to get stuck there. And you'll go from bad to worse. And you'll see them every time you see them, it'll go from bad to worse until finally you can't stand the sight of them. And how do you think that whole groups of people, a whole country could turn against another group of people? This way of thinking. It contaminates. It's contagious. And before you know it, we've deluded ourselves into thinking that if we get rid of all the purple people, we'll be all right. We'll be able to live a good life. No, that will never happen because you have become hateful. Full of hate means hateful. How come we don't have a word for love? Loveful. We have hateful. Why don't we have loveful? That person's loveful. Those words are loveful. Because we're so focused on the negative, you know? But when we're focused more on love, love is a strength. It empowers the person who has the love, it emanates from that person, and it empowers the environment and all the other people and animals that live in that love. It strengthens, it empowers. It does. I mean, think about it. Just think about it in the most, basic way. If you're taking care of somebody, if you treat them in a terrible way, they don't heal. And now you don't heal either. Like we were when I was talking to you about how hard it is sometimes to take care of somebody that has hurt you. And think of all the times that you kept thinking about that hurt. Thinking about it, year after year, perhaps decade after decade, you have nursed that wound. Isn't that a weird word to use? Nursed. That means you nourished it. You took that wound and now that wound has all this negative nourishment. Was that wound that big? Say, yes, they hurt me. You have no understanding. You don't even, you're defending bad people. No. No, I'm saying this so you have tools to get better. So that you don't become the thing that you disdain. That happened to you. You have my compassion. You have trauma. You have my compassion. The person that did that to you does not have awareness about it. But they will at some point. They will at some point. But it's not up to us to do more harm to them. We think we're teaching them by being mean to them. What are you teaching? That you can be like them? You never want to teach somebody how to be mean. What are you saying? You have a position of power in your family or in your community or in your group? Do you get them all worked up about other bad people, bad things? Get them all worked up? Yeah, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad. Families get worked up like that now, a lot. Against each other, separate. Against other families, against other states, cities, communities, political parties, religions. We decide these people are bad over here. And we make ourselves just as bad as the people that we're seeing over here. No. I'm telling you, they really are bad. They really do bad things. Okay, but be careful so you don't go down that trail. Because if you're not doing those bad things that you see there, be careful about thinking about them so much and about what they're doing. Because pretty soon you're going to start thinking that you have a right to hurt them. See how that goes? We have to be careful. We have to be careful. We have to be aware. That's why we have the word integrity and injustice together, you see. We have to stay rooted in our integrity, and it's not an easy thing. So when we give something to someone, instead of coming back years later and saying, I gave that to you and you never even said thank you to me. Wait a minute, that was 5 years ago. Yeah. Or you never said you were sorry. You never said thank you. You don't say I love you. So we are nursing these wounds because something wasn't done in the way we thought it needed to be done. And now we're saying it to that person and making sure that they know that they're bad. And I'm not, because I'm a victim, that you didn't say I love you. You didn't say thank you. You didn't say I'm sorry. So I've been victimized. Now I'm going to victimize you for that. Who hasn't done that at some level, in some way, sometime? So I say it to you again so that you can see, oh, wow, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because we can't really change unless we become aware of it. And then once we have an awareness of it, then we have to practice. And you're going to fail, and then you're going to get it, and then you're going to fail, and then you're going to get it. And it's going to be like that, and you don't give up. You don't give up. You stay on your path. You stay in your practice. You stay committed to being strong. You stay committed to be loveful, not hateful. You're staying committed to being strong, not revengeful. They'll get theirs. I'll make sure of it. You don't want to be that person. So I say these things because integrity is about our words, our thoughts. Remember, because I can't say anything that you didn't think. So if I'm conning you, that means I had to think about it. So I'm choosing my words carefully, but for a very bad outcome. If I'm not conning you and I'm speaking inspirationally, that means I've had to been thinking those words for a long time. To speak inspirationally means they're already in there, and they've been there so much that that's what's in your garden, and it comes right out of your mouth. Conning takes practice. How can I get them to think a particular way? How can I get them to give me this? How can I get that other side be weak? Still, nothing comes out here that doesn't come here first. So that's why I love that saying, speech reveals the mind. How a person speaks, the actual words that they say, always comes from here. So if a person's conning you, you may not know that. But the karma for what came out here and the reasoning behind it still goes out, affects other people, and returns back to the sender. So if I consciously think of ways to con you, those words come out, but they may be sweet. If these words come out, they touch you and put like an illusion on you. That energy that I did purposefully comes back to me, which means now I can be the other person who can be conned. Because ultimately, if you con somebody else, you've conned yourself. And that's the energy that will come back to you. Oh, a lot to think about, right? Holy cow. You're telling me I have to be aware all day long? Only if you can. You know, these things take practice. So I say these things to you so that you want to practice, so that you want to have peace in your heart. So the next time that you give something to somebody, think about it before you give it to them, because if you give it to them knowing that they're probably not going to say thank you, and I'm probably going to like talk about them for not doing that. Change your mind. Notice that it's in your mind. So like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to give them this crystal, but as soon as I give it to them, I know they're just going to put it away. They're not even going to use it. They probably won't even thank me for it. Okay, here you go. I've set you up. But I didn't know I was setting you up because I'm unconscious about it. But sure enough, what will happen? They didn't say thank you. And now you're going to stew on it, and you're going to have bad thoughts about them. So back up. Okay, I'm going to give them this crystal. I really don't want to. I know they're not going to use it. I know how I'm going to feel afterwards. Maybe it's not the right time to give them that crystal. Let me rethink this. I really can't give it from my heart. Kind of setting us both up to fail here. maybe I shouldn't give it until I really want to give it. So I can give it to them and then forget about it so that they can feel free to use it or not use it. I know sometimes people who do readings like I do, sometimes they told me, oh, I know, I tell people, you got to do this, you got to do that. And they never listen to me. I think of it as like you gave somebody a seed. And once you give it to them, it no longer belongs to you. You gave them a seed. They can put it in their pocket and forget about it, and it goes through the wash. Destroys the seed. They can chuck it out their car window on the way home. They can eat it, nourish themselves with it. They can put it in the soil, make it grow into a tree, and give more seeds to other people. But it's not about you. You can say, that was because of me. They got a big old tree out there and they've been helping other people. I did that. I did that. No. Somebody gave you a seed and you in turn gave that person a seed. How many times did the seed that you received from somebody else get chucked out the window, went out with the trash? Until finally you saw the essence, the value of that seed, and you gave it to somebody else. So let the other person do with it as they will. And not expect it to come back to you in some sort of egotistical way. Because then you didn't freely give. You gave with an expectation of something returning to make you feel like, yeah, I did that. I gave them that. I'm the one who did that. Give and forget. So very, very, very hard to do. But if you start practicing it, you have more awareness of it. And you become more discerning before you give. It won't make you not give. It'll just make you give more open-heartedly. It'll make you give in a way where there's more discernment of, oh, apparently it's not the right time to give because I really feel resentful in giving. So again, we have an elderly person who's in need of help. And you say to yourself, well, according to this, I don't have to give because I have resentment. No. If there is an elderly person, your mother, your father, and they're going through a terrible time, a terrible illness, and you feel like you have to give, but then you've said to yourself, I don't have to give because, I'm going to give with resentment, so I'm not going to. No, you have awareness now of how this works. That could never be an excuse. Now, what you want to do is look inside and go, okay, I'm pretty sure I can't give unconditionally here in this moment. In fact, if I were a betting person, I would bet that I can't give unconditionally to this person in this moment. However, I do want to have that feeling of peace. I do want to give. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go see that person. I'm going to go see my mom or my dad. And even though I still got all this trauma and all this pain, I'm going to help myself. I'm going to help myself to open my heart here a little bit. Because all this stewing on all this trauma has made me start to close my heart, and I'm starting to realize that. And they're old, and they're in this bed, and they can't hurt me. But I can hurt them. And I don't want to. When you have a moment like that, you will be forever changed. When you see them and you realize, I could be mean to them right now and tell them, yeah, you're dying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you how I've been feeling all this time. You could do that. And you have a right to. Or you can be introspective and you can look at your own heart and you can be like, oh my God, this is an old person, frail. They can't do anything. They can barely even breathe now. That's all they can do actually is breathe. They're not even being able to do that right now. I don't think you really want to harm that person that's that vulnerable. It's a lot to overcome yourself, and don't underestimate it. It takes a lot for a person who's been really abused to stand and look at their abuser and actually have compassion for them in their state that they're in. That is a life-changing moment. That's a moment that you'll remember that you activated the power to overcome. You overcame your own hatred, your own miserliness, because you were holding on to it. This happened to me. This happened to me. We do that after a while, we're going to want to do it to other people. We want to reduce that. You see, integrity and injustice. See how they go together in the sense of that just because somebody has done something to you does not give you permission to do the same to them or to anybody else. You can do it. It's your right to do it. But I would encourage you to be introspective and to help yourself through practice to overcome. Overcome yourself. These feelings of, I thank you, these feelings of, I've been hurt. Therefore, I have a right to hurt others. So we see that not only in the individual, because the individual belongs to groups. And we have groups who feel like now they have a right to hurt all these other people. It's contagious. It's contagious. You know, it's funny because see, we don't see germs in the air. You know, you don't see them. But once you get symptoms, you know they were there, right? So people say, you know, I don't know about that God thing. There's no proof that there's any God. There's no proof that there's a germ until it hits you. You don't have to believe in germs or not. It's there. So what I'm saying to you is that you want to put love into the air. Breathe love out into the air. Consciously. If you're out on a walk, you could be out on a walk and you can be stewing. Stew. And the whole time you're stewing, all of those thoughts move from your head out into the air. Did you know that? Or did you think that they're safely tucked inside of you, not hurting anybody, not even yourself? It's not true. If you're on a walk and you're stewing, you're still hurting yourself. And it's coming out of you and polluting the air. Now it's in the air. Now anybody else that walks by there, they can get it too. And they get a hold of that little germ goes in there and it sparks memories of all bad things that have happened to them. Now we got two people stewing, walking around out there. So I say that to you so that you know we're always collectively giving to one another, good or bad, all the time. So I also say this to you so that in your practice, you do your practice for your own well-being, of course, but always send it out to others. Like when I do the peace prayer and I do Ganesha, kindly remove the obstacles to peace within myself and my home, and kindly extend it out to my neighborhood. Why not? That took 2 extra seconds, maybe. You can keep sending it out. Anything that you pray for your own good, send it out for everyone else too. If you pray silently over your food, you can at the end of it, you can say, and kindly extend this blessing to all others who have received food today, or to ask the other people to be able to receive food. You see, we forget to extend this goodness out to others, but we don't forget to send hate out. We remember to send out angry thoughts. We remember to send out really mean thoughts, but we forget to send out good thoughts. And like I've told you before, when people say, thoughts and prayers aren't enough, of course not, but you don't give up on those. Thoughts and prayers are always needed, always needed. And that means if you send that prayer out, you have to become that prayer. Really, you do. If you're praying for peace, then become that peace. So those vibrations move out and they influence others. You must practice your prayer. Praying for peace. Oh, it's no good. People are mean and hateful. Okay. So you're going to just give up and ingest all that pain? Help yourself. Treat yourself to good thoughts. Do a mantra. You can, a mantra can be this simple. God is love, I am love. So I have used it for the word of the month, or I'll say, God is integrity, I am an integrity. See? I am integrity. I am integrity. Rather than, I am so pissed off. Pardon my language, but we know this is normal. It's not natural, but it's normal. And the more you put emphasis onto it, you become more and more that way in the moment. And if you keep practicing that more and more moments, it overtakes you and you become that. You don't really have any choice anymore. Now you have to work to get your choice back, because anger can be so powerful that it can actually take your choice away for you to have peace. Because anger is so all-consuming that if you focus and focus and focus and focus on it, you have to speak that way. You have to walk that way. You have to be that way everywhere you go. People need to know that you're an angry individual. You see? You don't have a choice to be peaceful in that moment because anger has overtaken you. It is now the boss. It is now driving the car. Wherever you go, you're leading with anger. Right? You've lost your choice to have peace. And it'll take a while. Something will have to happen in order to wake you up out of that, pull you out of it. Because anger, after a long period of time, if you practice anger, you practice it because you feel like it makes you powerful. If you practice it, you will lose your ability to have the free will, the choice to be strong in peace. And you will have to become a beginner in order to be strong in peace. You will have to practice and practice and practice and practice. Practice is worth it. I'm telling it to you so you understand it. If I live in jealousy, and I live in resentment, and I live in anger, I lose my ability to have a free will, to have love and peace rule my life. I will have to practice healing myself. But you see, I'll say, no, injustices were done to me. I don't have to be nice. Bad things have happened to me. I don't have to be nice to you people. You see, I've lost my choice. Be a free person and always remember that peace and love always are existing inside of you, and you have a choice to be strong in them, or you have a choice to be strong in anger and hate. Because if you go that way, because you feel like you've been through injustices, you will become the thing that you disdain. But if you really want to make a difference in yourself, and you really want to make a difference in your country, you really want to make a difference in your family, you really want to make a difference in your environment, then help yourself choose this side. Well, it'll make you go back. It'll make you revert. And you got to go, "Oh, it's going to take me a little while to overcome all this anger." That's right, it will. But you can do it. I can do it. You can do it. We can do it. Right? So I'm encouraging you every month to practice the virtues with me. Understand that there's a saboteur to every virtue, and they never go anywhere without each other. Life is all about balance. It's where you put your attention that matters. You put your attention on peace, discord will still be there. You'll be aware of it. You'll see it. And you'll see it as it starts to rise. But because you've been practicing peace, it will override it. So every month, this is what we're doing. It's helping ourselves to understand that the virtue and the saboteur are always together. Right? What do you think?
I think it's 11:02.
So, how about a word for April? Do I have the right word? What is it? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm putting my my assistant on the spot here. No?
Kindness,
And what's the saboteur?
disservice.
Did you hear her? So, the word for April is kindness. The saboteur this time is disservice. Just remember that kindness also comes from K-I-N, means kin, right? Kindred. Together. Kindness, family, country, however you want to look at that. So kindness is our word for April, and disservice is the saboteur this time. Appreciate you being here with me today. And let's do 3 ohms together. And if you want to leave, I bid you peace. If you want to stay for some questions, I would love that. Om. 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 Thank you for being here. Peace be with you. Namaste. You have questions? Can't read it from here.
This person said, I appreciate how integrity references integration of our whole self are so included rather than conceptually adjacent. Are they our thoughts, or are they internalized thoughts from outside of us over time?
Both. Right? Yeah. Because everything's always affecting us from the inside out. Because if it's coming from the outside in, that means it's coming from other people's insides. Right? So anything that's like going on inside of Ruby comes out of her and affects me. Everything that's inside of me right now is coming out of me and affecting her. But we always have the free will, but free will is an interesting thing to counterbalance, because sometimes we get so involved, like I was showing with anger, it could be so powerful that it actually diminishes our free will in the moment to be as kind as we would like to be. That makes sense? Somebody else have a question?
Could you also call the saboteur shadow?
Yes. Yes. Saboteur, another word for saboteur could absolutely be the word shadow.
And tell them to read their newsletters.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Just so you know, before I take another question, there's the newsletter's coming out today. And in the newsletter today, there's some big news that I just want you to make sure that you read it, because it's
Scheduling and tarot.
it's scheduling news. And it's also parallel 2. You'll get the what do you call it?
Registration.
Registration, and when it's going to be, how much, what we're
It's gonna
doing.
be in like 2 weeks.
It's gonna be in 2 weeks. It's been we've been going through so much change. It's everything kind of got tucked away a little bit. So but I do look forward to tarot. You know how much I love that. Okay, thank you. That was my big announcement. I'm sorry, somebody else had it. Yeah, Diana.
So I notice with myself, it's a samskara for me when others accuse me of not being integritous. And it sets me off. I got to admit it. And I try to lead a fairly integritous life. So do you have any words of wisdom to deal with that?
I know there's these things where I always think that if somebody tells me that I'm not good in some way, I think to myself, well, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. So that you help yourself to remember that they're only looking through their own eyes. And so when they look at you, there's a place inside them that says, you're not saying what I want you to say. I don't really get you. I don't really understand you, because I just have to say this, just knowing you, I know that you practice integrity, right? Yeah, you do. And everybody that's here, we all do practice integrity, but that doesn't mean somebody won't say to us that we're not practicing it. It just means they didn't get from you what they wanted. Or they may say, you said this last year, now you're saying this. Well, yeah, I grew. I grew, I changed. And you can always say that when somebody says, this isn't the way, this isn't what you said to me before. And you can tell them, yeah, I understand. I've grown. Does that help?
Yeah.
I know it's a hard one, but let me just say this to you too. What you want to do is when you get that moment of anger, really do some sort of a chant, particularly a chant about peace, until you get to a point where, because you might not be able to send it to them in that moment, but later on, after you've been chanting for a while, you'll be able to send it to them. And then you feel better too.
Kelly said it could also be a projection of the view of themselves.
Exactly. That mirror image thing, they're like, oh, hey, I got you. And when we call somebody out like that, I mean, we have to be careful, because like I said, it comes from this place of anger. Sometimes it comes from jealousy. They'll see some light in you and they want to pull that away from you. But you don't let them.
Julie asked if there was a recording from March, and the answer to that is yes, of course, but my computer will not let me download it no matter what I do. So I'm finally here with Miss Jackie. I'm going to upload it today on her computer as well as this one. So you will have both the recordings up today from last month in March and from today. My computer just literally will not let me. So I apologize for the delay, but it will be up there, I promise.
Okay, so today you get 2.
And a newsletter. We're getting
And a newsletter. Oh my God. You're going to be inundated with saints and training stuff today.
Yay.
Yay.
Jackie Day.
Does anybody else have a question?
Chris does.
Oh, Chris, yes.
Hi, sorry, I got on late and I just wanted to ask, a couple of friends and I have been having a rough couple weeks, and you might have addressed this already, but have the energies or anything just been a bit hinky and stronger the last couple weeks, or what? Because it's like we've been missing, even I've been missing some things, but my friends, it's like I'll email somebody and she'll totally miss what I wrote. And it's gone back and forth. Has anyone else experienced that, or are we just going bonkers?
No.
Yeah, let's everybody raise our hands. Oh, yeah, of course. So there's been a really big astrological shift. What day was that on?
The 23rd.
13th?
No, wasn't it like the 23rd?
I think it was after the equinox. So we'll say around the 23rd, 24th of March. I think it was a Friday. And so the planet Pluto, I know that's controversial if it's a planet or not, but we're going to call it a planet for today. The planet Pluto went into the sign of Aquarius. Now it hasn't been there for about 243 years.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how long it takes for it to go around the sun one time to go back to where it was at the same place. So Pluto is the planet that represents what we call the underworld. So it's like where everything needs to like come up. It's like a volcano. It's like it comes up and it creates a lot of disruption so that we can have change. Now, Aquarius is actually the sign of revolution, in the sense of that Aquarius has two rulers. I'm sorry to give you an astrology thing here. I'll be brief, but it's co-ruled by Saturn and Uranus. Saturn has this kind of strictness, like father energy. Here's the rules. This is how it is. This is how we play the game, and da 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 da. There's kind of a strictness that's with it. Uranus is more like, hey, you know what? I was thinking about this new invention that if we put this together, we're all going to love each other. Okay. So that's why sometimes I say there's two kinds of Aquarians. There's the Saturnian Aquarian and the Uranian Aquarian.
And then there's you.
And then there's me. Yeah. I'm definitely more of the Uranian who aspires to bring more of that Saturnian nature in there to balance me out, for sure. But when you get these two together, we got revolution and we got rebellion. It doesn't have to be rebellion like I'm going to rebel because I don't like it. It's like it's a sign of groups. So from March 23rd or so till June the 12th, we are going to be in this Pluto in Aquarius. And it's going to retrograde, sorry to give you so much of this, back into Capricorn until January of next year, where it will stay in, Pluto will stay in Aquarius for the next, get ready, 20 years. So we are about to go into what they've been saying. Remember that song in the 60s, The Age of Aquarius? This is really what they were talking about. So over these next 20 years, there's going to be rebellions, revolutions.
Tell them what happened the last time.
Oh yeah. So the last time, thank you. So the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, the United States was born.
And the French Revolution.
And the French Revolution. Look at that time period there, and you'll see what was going on in the world, and we're back in that cycle again. So of course there's going to be disruptions and all those kinds of things, but what you want to do is you want to really check yourself, particularly with groups, so that you don't get stuck into a whirlwind of negative emotions. You know, you want to stay really, really positive, you know, because there are going to be a lot of really big changes. It's also on the positive side, Aquarius rules all air things. So like planes, airplanes. Have you noticed that the airplane industry?
Oh, yeah.
It rules space travel. It rules technology. So did you notice that the first bank that went down, or I should say the only bank, or just the bank, was a one that supports technology. So things with technology is really going to change a lot. You know, the business of technology, the inventions of technology is going to like really spiral in ways that we really, all of us together, can't really imagine. The AI industry is going to really change a lot. Inventions in education will come along in a better way. So, but Aquarius rules groups. So groups will change. People will, like some astrologers will say that this is the time when on one side there's dictators and autocrats, and on the other side are the democracies, because democracies are more social, they're more groups. This side over here is more one person. They're going to have to find a way to change. So we're moving into groups, and that can create rebellion. Deborah?
Yes, since Chris brought up astrology, I was wondering if you have any words about this alignment, this stellium between those 5 planets.
I know, isn't that amazing? I think that's affecting a lot of us too in a lot of different ways. There's just so much in that astrologically speaking, but all I'm going to say about that is that if you think about what we were just talking about with the Pluto and Aquarius, that Yeah, all of that's all lined up there, same thing, but a shorter period of time. So it's just making things like really kind of frantic.
Yeah.
But this is like the perfect time to send out peace.
Mhm.
It couldn't be a better time. But it'll work on, remember that the air is where all of our thoughts are, and our words are all in the air. So right now we could use a lot of affirmations and mantras. It's a really, really good thing for that, because the energy in the air, the way it mixes with the water, of course, is creating this new upsurge in climate change, right? The dance between air and water changing. So we want to really put our emphasis on our thoughts, because that helps to fill the air with a different type of balance, which is very good for us. Think more deeply about what I just said, though, there.
Chris asked, is this the yuga you've mentioned before?
This is the yoga that I mentioned before. Yeah. So what she's asking me is, I'll try not to go too deep here. I know I have to really. So yuga just means age. And the yuga that we have recently entered into, we're only like about 2 seconds into this yuga, because it could last for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. It's called the Kali Yuga. Kali means time. And so it means that we are in the worst of times as a planet. So the worst of times means that we're in a time where we can't continue on the way that we have. Every single person on the planet has to change. Every individual has to change. So we have to work on ourselves, to contribute in a good way. So it will change everything. That's part of these Pluto and Aquarius. We have the Kali Yuga. We have everything all stacked into, okay, humans, get ready, because things are not going to be that they were before. So sometimes we have to go through things that are a little tough in order to learn how to help one another. We know that in disasters, people will go either one way or the other. Like they'll either want to help their neighbors, or they'll want to be greedy and hold on to what they have and not help anyone. But the in between doesn't show up so much, so that's the thing that polarizes us between the autocrats and the dictators, and more social on this side. So we either help one another, or we become very, no, that's mine and we're not sharing it because you didn't do this, that, and the other thing. So why should I share with you? So we have those two mentalities that go against one another. Trying to focus on peace. You have another one?
Hey,
Hi,
Jen-
Leanne.
Hi. One of my very favorite virtues or words of yours and tools that I've been practicing, but mostly in the last year, is forgiveness. And how you say you have to forgive yourself first before you can forgive others. And I have found it to be the most uplifting, freeing practice that I could do with everything and everybody, but for myself. And so everything you were talking about today, or feeling like a victim where people don't understand me, don't you even know me? I've felt like that. Like, was it Chris that was, I forget who said that earlier, about being ingenuous, or I forget,
Oh, it
integrity.
was Diana. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name right. Anyway, with all those things, I feel like a little victim sometimes, because everybody's been seeing me backwards. And I'm just thinking, who were you talking to just now? But just forgiving myself, even if I don't have the words exactly what I'm forgiving myself for, that I might not even understand, but forgiving them too has just lightened up everything for me. And I just thank you so much for that. The best tool of all.
Oh, I love that you
I
said that.
appreciate that so much.
Well, I appreciate you speaking up and sharing like that too, because sometimes I don't use the word forgiveness, because sometimes it can be controversial and with certain people when I have conversations with them. So I use the word liberation, and it's what you said, it frees you.
That's it.
You know?
Exactly.
it frees us up, so when you practice liberation, you're liberating yourself from resentment or from whatever, got stuck in there. And then, of course, when we do that, we don't see it as the first thing that we look at when we look at another person, because now we feel more free about it. So when you see it in the other person, you just feel it, but you know that, okay, they're coming from that place. They can't see me.
But when I do that, it sends out the energy to everybody, like you said, everybody concerned, and then beyond. And then you really feel like you are doing something for the world. And
That's
that's why we are all doing it. And I just can't thank you enough. And then we spread the word to our friends who are like-minded, but might never have heard that.
Oh, I love
And
that.
we're
We
gonna
have
have world
good
peace.
words, so-
We're gonna have world peace.
Thank you for
It kills me.
doing it. No, I love it.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
That's right.
Well, thank you is what I wanted to say, because I've been
Okay.
working on it and it's not hard. It makes everything else a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Because if you feel liberated, you're just going to feel more relaxed anyway, no matter what.
Exactly.
And then we're easier on other people.
And they can feel it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so I've
we're-
seen that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing. I'd love to tell everybody that, oh yeah, this spiritual thing is really, really easy. It's like, but but it's worth every step you take.
What else do we have to do, really?
Exactly.
When you think you can't, you're helpless or hopeless or everything is, that's at least what we can do, is say our mantras and peace and pray and forgive ourselves and forgive others. Oh my goodness.
I know, put it out in the air. We could use it.
Wonderful lesson. Thank you.
Thank
And become more loveful.
And become more loveful.
Love
Yeah.
that's the new word.
Yeah, my new word is loveful.
I love that
Yes, too
word.
now.
That's my new word.
Jim and I are buddies, so yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Kelly
you.
asked, also, what about the favor that others give us by soulful feedback that we don't want to hear?
Oh, wait, okay, say that to me again.
So like, I think she's trying to say like people are doing us a favor by giving us soulful, like genuine feedback, but we don't want to hear it.
Oh, I see. Well, there's this practice that I do with my body where if somebody's saying something to me and I'm not receiving it well, whether they're meaning something positive or they're meaning something negative, if I'm not receiving it well, what I do is I've been doing this for so long that I can check in with my body and make it relax. Once you make your body relax, whatever's being said to you will move through you. It won't get stuck in you. It'll move through you.
Yes.
Because what happens is when somebody says something to you that's negative, the only way I can say this to you is people's energy, our aura, actually contracts like a catcher's mitt. So what happens, like if I say something that's insulting to someone, they're going to do this. It's like I'm exaggerating so you can see it, but your aura actually contracts. So it actually like grabs that. Now it's with you. So what you want to do is as the baseball is coming to you, so to speak, if you can teach yourself to relax, it'll move right through you. It'll move right through you. And that's a really good thing because you'll be able to walk away in a good way. Sometimes people think that they're giving you positive feedback when really it's a criticism in disguise.
She said, but maybe we need to integrate it sometimes, question mark.
Absolutely. But that's up to you. That's up to you. That's your choice. It's your choice. If you feel like that is something that you needed to hear in that moment, because they're telling you what your behavior affected me in a negative way, and you got that and you really realized that, then absolutely, I would say, yes, that was a gift that you received. An unpleasant gift in the beginning, but it was a gift because you're going to turn it into something that liberates you in that moment. So that was beautifully put. Yeah, sometimes people will say things to us that really we did need to hear, and we do need to help ourselves to know that, oh my gosh, they're saying that because I hurt them. And then we make a change. Does that help, Kelly?
She said, thank you.
Thank you.
Julie has a question.
Yeah, Julie.
I was just looking back at the last time you did a reading for me, and you gave me the 3 words, the present. for me is selflessness. And the notes I wrote down were to be able to give and forget, which I'm laughing to myself because he talked about that today and I wrote down to be able to forget 2 things. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought that was very timely.
Oh, I'm so glad. I know. I just love that saying though, you know, it is important because it's very, very hard just to give and then forget. You know, we attach our name to it all the time. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying we have to we just have to remember not to throw it in somebody's face, you know? Yeah, give and forget.
It is 11:30, Madeira.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you all have a beautiful day today. Lots of peace. And yeah, remember that we're in that wacky Pluto and Aquarius. So
Revoluzione.
see, revoluzione. Okay. Revolution of the heart. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.